Right. 9 April 2022. And I'm joined by Senator Khaliphani Phugeni today on Saturday, 9 April. How are you, Senator?
No, I'm not well. I'm not well at all. How can one be well when our people are slaughtered like wild animals, as we see in South Africa? The sad thing, Kambako, is that we were here a few weeks ago. You remember tackling the same subject, and most of our people who are in South Africa, they who really couldn't see because of their short foresight, were saying, "Don't talk about South Africa. Talk about your country. Don't." And they just didn't understand what we were addressing. Because if they go back and listen to that recording, we did predict that this is going to come, and here we are, very very sad, you know.
Okay. So let's start with what happened this weekend.
Yeah.
The first thing is that on Sunday, there were a group of men that went door to door and they killed, according to media reports, they killed
Mm,
7 people
mm,
and then 14 people are hospitalized.
mm,
These are South Africans.
mm,
And this is what sparked the demonstration on Monday, according to reports.
mm.
Have you heard about this incident?
No, that's a lie. How do I say it's a lie? Minister Mutwaledi, one of the biggest xenophobes, I'm saying xenophobes, I'm actually wrong, one of the anti-Zimbabweans ministers in South Africa, together with Minister Cele. They basically hate Zimbabweans with a passion. I don't know for what reason. They are the ones who've been punting this whole thing. Now, the the premier of Gauteng, David Makura, was a day before yesterday, was in Diepsloot. Uh, a beautiful journalist, wonderful work. I think it's Crisalda. Asked him a question that minister, or premier, these 7 people, who are they? Do you know? And they obfuscated. He turns back, he says, no, actually, these 7 did not die now. He started saying, we're counting from last year. When you add up, these deaths happened at different times. When you add up, they end up coming to 7. And then he adds up Elvis there. He says, now with Elvis, it's 8. What loads of nonsense is that? So you hype up people for what I told you in previous weeks ago, that they are scared because the Patriotic Alliance and the Action SA have been running extremely anti-migrant, anti-African migrant campaigns, and they saw the gains which they got. And then ANC, which is panicking, which is devoid of ideology, this current one, is jumping on the bandwagon in view of 2024, and they want to be seen as an anti-migrant administration, thinking that they are going to gain some dividends or some returns come 2024. So it started with all the things of, we are now revoking the permits which were granted. So somebody lives in that country for over 10 years with a permit, and then you tell me that no, we're revoking that permit, you just have to go back home now. Nothing happens of you. You don't qualify for citizens residence. You don't qualify for citizenship. What nonsense is that in a country of Mandela, a country which is a champion of human rights, especially here in Africa, in the continent, and the southern tip of the continent. So it's a government-sponsored campaign. I told you that is the NC which is sponsoring this. Now it's no longer speculation. 2 weeks ago, or hardly, I think it's a week ago, the governing party spokesperson, Pulemab, came out and said they endorse, they support Operation Tutula. He said it. Now I ignore what the president has been saying in public. The president of that country has been saying in public, organizations, operations like Tutula, it's illegal. No, He is not being honest. He is being dishonest, and he is playing a dangerous game, because I can tell you this, sooner or later, Harare will also respond, and there will be no security for South Africans in this country. And tell me where we will go. It's not dignified at all. Stop people, let me finish this point, to stop people under camera and ask them for their passports, arrest them in public and all those things. What has happened to human rights? What has happened to human dignity?
Okay. Senator, I want to go on the issue of crime, because this is the biggest issue that is being used. Are you aware that there are a number of Zimbabweans that are currently in prison for various serial murders in South Africa in the past year? I think there are 3 Zimbabweans in Limpopo and in Cape Town. In total, they've killed about, I think, 15 people, including women, 8 women in Limpopo. And then in Diepsloot, are you aware of the group called Amakalanga, which is operating there, of Zimbabweans?
You see, the problem I have is that, and this is not directed at you, it's directed at the media, you know, and you guys, because sometimes you're reporting about issues that are not as consequential as this, you just go with the popular narrative. I've just corrected you now. They've been running with the narrative, which you are now jumping into, that there were 7 South Africans who were killed last week. There is no such a thing. Yesterday, I was on Facebook and I challenged people. These imaginary 7 South Africans who were killed by Zimbabweans, what are their names? Was Elvis involved? And the premier of Gauteng, I'll send you the video after this recording. He was asked that question and he said, no. Then he started adding up numbers, dates from previous years. So even this whole thing which you are telling me, you need to verify it. Let me just give you statistics. The prison population of South Africa is about 200,000, about 200, 230, 250. That's the prison population of South Africa. Of that prison population of South Africa, just 10%, I think it's 10.5% are foreign nationals, not Zimbabweans, are foreign nationals. So this whole nonsense of saying Zimbabweans and crime and whatever, by the way, the ministers know that in South Africa. The government of South Africa knows that, because these statistics which I'm giving, they are not exclusive to me. I don't have any exceptional abilities to research this information. They have this information at their disposal. They know that there is no Zimbabwean problem in South Africa. They know that. And very soon, they will humiliate Zimbabweans, get rid of them, kill them in a barbaric manner, which they are doing, and they will soon discover that all of their problems are still there. This is a distraction. This is deflecting, because remember, the ANC passed resolutions in their previous conference, and most of those resolutions have not been met. So as we go to that conference in December, it must not be about resolutions which were not met. It must be about Zimbabweans. How far have we gone in removing all Zimbabweans from South Africa? And then the president gets a second term, and then everything looks like, oh, well, it's normal. But I'm telling you, Kambakwe, there is no Zimbabwean problem in South Africa. I can tell you, if you search thoroughly here in Zimbabwe, you'll find that there are South Africans who are in prison here in this country for one crime or the other. Criminality does not know nationality. A criminal must be arrested on the basis of their nationality. Now, but this is the point I want to make to you. There is no criminality driven by Zimbabweans in a large scale in South Africa. Numbers don't bear that. Numbers are saying there is 10%. I do not have to waste my time now drilling down on of the 10%. How many Zimbabweans? 10% of 200,000 plus. You know what 10% is? 200,000 plus.
I do understand. I'm just saying, Senator. I'm just saying, Senator, the violent crime here in South Africa, mostly the ones that have been arrested in recent times are Zimbabweans. If you look at the raid that was taken of the armed robbers a few months ago, where 8 people were killed, those guys, about half of them were Zimbabweans. 2 weeks back, 4 Zimbabweans were shot dead by police, and they were committing armed robbers. And as I said to you, there is a group called Amakalanga operating in Diepsloot, which is notorious for murder. It's well known.
What you are giving me is called anecdotal evidence. That's what you are dealing with. If you were dealing with states, go to the states and see the states. We have serial rapists in South Africa. None. We had a lot of people that have been arrested in South Africa for gruesome murders that have been happening. The states do not bear this record which you want to paint, that it is Zimbabweans. I am not denying that some Zimbabweans have been involved in heinous crimes. I am not denying that. But what I will not accept is to scapegoat Zimbabweans, which is used by these politicians who have no morality whatsoever, who are allowing our people to be slaughtered like wild animals so that they carry on with their political positions. That Elvis Nyatu who was killed, which criminality was he involved in? Is working as a garden boy equal to murder now in South Africa?
Okay, certainly not. But the ANC does not want Zimbabweans anymore. Let me play a clip for you from one of their youth leaders, and then I'll play for you the ministers. Then we'll take it from there.
Zimbabweans are roaming around Diepsloot as they please.
So you only want Zimbabweans to leave, just?
Are you deaf? That is what you're saying, Chief. You want Zimbabweans to leave. That is what I'm saying. That is what I'm saying. They must leave.
All right, that's the youth leader of ANC. Let's go to the ministers now. And I hope that this video is going to play very quickly.
It's not playing this side on my gadget. I don't know if the listeners are hearing it.
Okay, so let's restart this whole process.
Zimbabweans are roaming around Diepsloot as they please.
So you only want Zimbabweans to leave, just?
Are you deaf? That is what you're saying, Chief. You want Zimbabweans to leave. That is what I'm saying. That is what I'm saying. They must leave.
Right, did you hear that from the ANC youth leader?
In fact, you cut it short. He went as far as saying even the legal, not the illegal, the legal Zimbabweans, I don't want them in this country because they are the ones who are bringing the illegal. That's what he said.
Right, so this is the feeling, and this is the official position of the ANC. They did not challenge it today or deny that that's what they want. In fact, they summoned ZANU-PF and said ZANU-PF must appear for the statement that they issued today. So the ANC's official position is that Zimbabweans who are illegal must leave.
Yeah, but I think I told you a few weeks ago when I was here that this is the agenda. The ANC you have today is not the ANC of Oliver Tambo. It's not the ANC of Albert Lutuli. It's not the ANC of Mandela. It's not the ANC of President Mbeki. It's not the ANC of President Zuma. It's the ANC of people who were accused in Parliament by Honorable Likota. Remember, he accused the sitting president that when Likota went to prison, the sitting president claimed that they indoctrinated him. He is not involved in this thing. He doesn't know about these things. And then Tera Likota and them were sentenced to Robben Island. He was set free in Parliament. So you are dealing with a different breed altogether here, my brother. It's about to get worse, by the way. It's unfortunate that most Zimbabweans in South Africa, they like to get involved in foreign politics, which has nothing to do with them. They were very excited about this ANC, running with the useless narrative against the previous ANC. They got the then president removed, got this one too excited. And look at where they are today. The previous president gave them permits for 10 years. plus. They sat with permits, gave them jobs, never had all of these problems. They got excited now, we are dealing with this. I'm telling you, it's gonna get even rougher than what it is right now. And I hope Harare will get involved. I really hope Harare will get involved because it's really going to get rough. I heard reports that Tutula Clown said he's not moved by the death of a Zimbabwean, because South Africans are dying every day. So I'm telling you, it's going to get rough.
Okay, let's play the statement by the ministers when they were addressing the crowd yesterday.
When these crimes were taking place, it's not easy for any woman to be raped in front of their own husband with a gun on and children. But these are the stories they told us. And they said they believe, they know that is Zimbabwean nationals who were doing that. So these are the issues we must face head on. We can't put our head below the sand for fear that will be labeled. Like what I see Sowetan trying to do, already saying I chase somebody here because he's from Zimbabwe. No. He was chased by the people, and if I didn't go out, you'll be telling us about 2 people who died, because those are the only ones we recognize when they die. That's what you're going to ask us, and say in front of 2 ministers and a commissioner of police and all that. I was trying to prevent that, and I did so, and I'm very proud that I've done so. That man will not be alive if I didn't go out to make sure that he's put in the hands of police, and I advised him to leave the meeting, because there was no way he was.
Right. So I am sorry about the sound there, but you are hearing the minister there, Motsoaledi.
Right.
He's saying that Zimbabweans are responsible for crime. And the community believes that Zimbabweans are responsible for crime.
Kambakwe, I was a chaplain for over 2 years in South Africa. I was a chaplain for high school students. And the most cases I dealt with were kids who were raped when they were infants. Some by a very close family member, some by a neighbor, by an uncle, and all those things. Those families were not Zimbabweans. We do have a problem of rape in this country, but not to the same extent as in South Africa. In South Africa, you'll hardly meet a person. I'm talking late 90s, early 2000s. You'll hardly meet a person who had not experienced sexual abuse. It was not Zimbabweans. If 1 or 2 or 3 Zimbabweans are committing the crime of rape, you cannot say that rape in South Africa is a phenomena which came with Zimbabweans. It's not true. And the minister knows it, because he's got statistics there. He's sitting with statistics, which I challenge you to go and look for, because you can find them. You can go and look for those statistics this week. When we come next Saturday here, you'll have statistics. He is, I'm able to tell you that he is involved in disinformation because he's in a political campaign. He realizes that he's about to lose his job. And then what he's trying to do is scapegoating Zimbabwean foreigners, which is extremely dangerous. It is not leadership. That's red meat to the base which is involved in.
Okay, let's go to the issue of documents. I was at the Zimbabwe border over the weekend. On the bridge, right now, if you were to go now as I speak, there are about 500 to 1,000 Zimbabweans on the bridge trying to cross into South Africa illegally. And the South African police are trying to chase them back into Zimbabwe. The Zimbabwean soldiers and police are letting these people in without passports, without anything. And these are the people who end up in places like Diepsloot. Should the Zimbabwe government do something about this? About these people who are coming here without documentation?
Listen, Kambakwe, I don't think that the phenomena of people crossing borders for greener pastures is a Zimbabwean phenomena in South Africa. No, I lived in Europe. I can tell you that a lot of people from the Caribbean, from Poland, from all the poor countries were flocking the richer countries in Europe. So there is nothing strange there. You cannot kill people or scapegoat people and call them rapists, criminals, murderers, and all those things, knowing the consequences of such reckless statement, because they are crossing borders for greener pastures. It's extremely reckless. So I just don't understand. They called each other sister parties. You remember that all the elections, contested elections here in Zimbabwe, have been endorsed by the same ANC. The ANC as a party, the ANC as a government. So I told you in our last interview when we were dealing with this matter that this is a class issue. You are not affected by this yourself because of the class that you belong to. Those people who are affected by this are of the poor of the poorest. They are the ones who are affected. It's a class issue. That's the most unfortunate thing, that the ruling elite and the elite in Africa and even in South Africa and in Zimbabwe, they just enjoy exploiting opportunities, exploiting resources, exploiting everything from them for themselves, their friends, and their families at the expense of the poor.
Okay, Senator, I think my question on what should be done is not answered.
No, you asked me if government should do something about people crossing the borders. I'm telling you that there is nothing they can do except to address the socio-economic conditions in Zimbabwe. But even if they've addressed that, because you know that this country, even during the time when it was called the breadbasket of Africa, we still had our parents cross the borders to South Africa. So, of course, the numbers of people, the volume will be different, because you saw during the GNU, a lot of people left South Africa and came back to Zimbabwe. But I'm simply saying we can't even talk about that as a solution to the death of our people in South Africa. Our people must not be killed in South Africa. That's number one. Number two, they must not be killed in the manner they are being killed. It's just not right. It's just not right, because I can tell you now, there are South Africans in this country. There are South Africans in this country. You don't want a tit-for-tat situation. It's going to be a slippery slope. Now, Harare has to get involved. You know what happened last time when there were xenophobic attacks in South Africa during President Zuma's time? Nigeria got involved. It deported South Africans, a large number of them, and President Zuma had to put an unqualified apology to Nigeria, and that whole thing was solved. So Harare has to get involved. HE must pick up the phone, call President Ramaphosa, and say, bring a stop to this nonsense.
Okay, I've got here with me the statement from the Zimbabwe consulate, which they issued today, in fact, yesterday. And I'm going to share it with everyone at gambako.com. They did not mention any xenophobic attack in that statement. In fact, the ZANU-PF spokesperson, Mr. Kevin Mandaza, is the only one who mentioned xenophobic attack. The Zimbabwe government is not taking this as a xenophobic attack, from what I'm seeing here on the statement. As I said, I'm going to share it with you. I think the problem that we have, Senator, is that the Zimbabwe government does not want to take action here about Zimbabweans in South Africa. They want to let the South African government take action. Don't you think that the Zimbabwe government should have a program for taking South African Zimbabweans who are illegal here back into Zimbabwe?
No, I'm saying to you, what Harare has to do is to call Pretoria and call Pretoria to order. We are involved in an act of criminality. No one must be killed because they are in a country without a passport. That is the issue. We don't want false equivalencies here. Do not conflict two things which are not equal. They are not equal at all. Zimbabwe must not even involve itself with trying to deport people and saying come back home and whatsoever. I've told you it's not a phenomenon between Zimbabwe and South Africa. It's all over the world. America is dealing with it. Ireland is dealing with it. Germany is dealing with it. Everyone is dealing with it. Right now, Poland has just accepted, I think, over 4 million refugees from Ukraine because of the situation which we all know in Ukraine. Everybody knows the situation here in Zimbabwe, which Pretoria has endorsed. I'm saying to you, all the elections in this country, not even one of them is Pretoria condemned. Not even one of them. So if the conditions in, and they've also said the conditions in Zimbabwe are caused by sanctions, which sanctions they know were imposed by Western countries. They have no capacity to get the Western countries remove them. So what must people do? Our people must die here. They will cross the borders and go there. They have signed a lot of international commitments to uphold human rights. They have an obligation, not only an obligation, they have a sacred obligation towards the Nyati family. And really, that family must take them to court. They failed that family and they failed it dismally.
Okay. Senator, I get you. Remember, in the last xenophobic attack, Stole was killed here and they cut his body in half. I personally assisted his widow, and with the help of the embassy, of course, to move his body back to Zimbabwe, Chipinge, and we've been helping his family with some people in Australia, his wife and kids, to pay school fees for the past 4 years. So this is not something that I take lightly. I was personally there when there was a xenophobic attack in Katlehong, and many Zimbabweans were affected. Buses were given, and Zimbabweans went back home. But now they're back here. That's why I'm saying this is going to happen again and again until a solution is found for Zimbabweans coming here illegally. South Africans don't like it. The communities don't like it. And myself personally, you said I'm
Zimbabwe. Yeah, you are missing the point. They are coming for you. You heard this youth league leader saying, we don't want Zimbabweans, period. Not Africans. They don't want Zimbabweans. This whole thing of illegal whatsoever is just scapegoating. There is no
I'm leaving South Africa very soon. Myself, I'm personally leaving South Africa.
Listen, come back. Those people have no capacity to tell whether somebody is illegal or not illegal. Are you telling me that we're living in a world that says an illegal person gets brutally killed like that? Not even a rapist is killed. He's taken through a legal process, given legal representation. Why you tell me that not having a passport, you even forfeit your rights to legal defense? Surely?
Certainly not. But there's no control over these mobs. I've been in the places here in South Africa where police have been outnumbered by the community. You cannot control. If the mob decides now to do something, the police...
It's not a matter of police being outnumbered. It's a matter of a governing party which is irresponsible, which has encouraged this, which has grown a vigilante group masquerading as Operation Tudula. That's a vigilante group that has been brought up by the governing party, which they are supporting. Pulema came a week or two ago saying we support that such movements. Now, if you begin to outsource your responsibility as a government and give it to people who have absolutely no capacity, no training, no accountability whatsoever, so what must happen? So there must also be another vigilante group here that deals with South Africans in this country.
Okay, so certainly...
All our copper which is being stolen here and all our minerals and everything, they go via South Africa. There are South Africans involved. So what do we do? But I'm saying to you, Elvis was not even involved in crime. He was just a garden boy, for crying out loud. He was just a garden boy.
Senator, you're not answering this question that I'm giving you. The locals don't want Zimbabweans. They specifically said it. They don't want Zimbabweans.
No,
in their
I'm saying-
communities. So
No.
you can't force yourself on that community.
Kambakwe, you are missing the point, and you are missing it big time. Fortunate enough, you are speaking to somebody who has lived in that country probably more than you've done. So I know that community extremely well. I don't guess about them. There are intermarriages between Zimbabweans and South Africans, for starters. There are serious business ties there, in the sense that Zimbabweans, in the large, they are living in the backyards of South Africans, and South Africans are surviving from the rentals coming from those people. This is a campaign, get it from me. This is a political campaign. Please don't be confused about this. This is a political campaign by an irresponsible government and an irresponsible governing party. I'm not saying these things lightly, Kambakwe. Please get me. These are not loose words coming from me. This is extremely considered. I said to you, go back to our recording 2-3 weeks ago. I saw this. I started this. I understood where this whole thing is going. I'm not saying these things lightly. This is a government which is under pressure, which has no sense of right and wrong, which will do anything and everything to remain in power. That's what we are dealing with here. So don't confuse this whole thing. It's not South Africans. It's an irresponsible government playing a very dangerous game.
Okay. Senator, I hear you. And as I said to you, I dealt with this about 3 to 4 years ago when Stole was murdered here. And he was murdered by a mob. He was coming from work and his wife was in the house. And they chased him, they caught him, they cut him in half. And we only found half of his body. This is something that I'm telling you that happened, and I watched it, and I was involved in that process. It's happened again to Elvis.
What was the response of the then government? Was it as careless as what we are seeing here? Did it
No, there was no
scapegoat?
response from the government. There was no response from the government. In fact,
No.
the media at the time in South Africa did not cover the xenophobic attack. They took the people that were chased from Katlehong and they hid them in a hall. Then myself and Trustnlov, we went there to that hall. There was no police, there was no media coverage until we went to that hall in Katlehong. The South African community did not accept that there was a xenophobic attack at that time. But there were more than 400 Mozambicans and Zimbabweans who were stuck in that particular hall. What I'm saying is now is different because it's open. The community has spoken. They do not want the Zimbabweans. They do not want Zimbabweans. They didn't say Mozambicans or whatever. They're saying they do not want Zimbabweans.
Yeah, but
so are you saying then we should just force them to accept the Zimbabweans that they don't want?
Well, let me assist you. I wanted to deal with this issue general, but let me assist you. And by the way, this is my own observation. It's not gospel, so you don't have to take it. I can tell you my own observation. You remember that in 2020, there were two initiatives. One initiated by the ANC, came into this country, and they didn't get so much of a good reception as they expected in terms of their message which they brought. Following up the ANC's delegation, President Ramaphosa sent what he called a presidential envoy. But he then said that envoy must meet opposition parties and groups and whatsoever. And that envoy came here. I told you this is just my observation. This is not gospel. This is not something that I heard from people. It's my observation. That envoy came here. HE was not so pleased with it. Says if a presidential envoy, they must meet the president and no one else. And they came here, they met the president, and we were told that they are going to meet us, they're going to meet us. They went, and that whole thing died. Now, my reading is that Pretoria felt snapped, undermined, and all those things. And then they are feeling, look, we've got your people here, and we're trying to intervene, and we're not being helpful, and then therefore we are just just going to allow whatever happens. But the unfortunate thing here, the difference between now and then, what you are referring to, what happened then was spontaneous, something that just happened within the community. What we are having now is a sponsored political program. That's what I want you to get into it. This is a political program which is sponsored with a desired outcome. And what is the desired outcome? The desired outcome is to go into that conference, and the issue is Zimbabweans and migrants and whatsoever, and we're not dealing with conference resolutions of, I think it's 2017. And then 2024, the elections are going to be about this thing which is given to the people, foreigners and all those things, and you've got nothing to hold this government accountable in terms of service delivery. You're not going to deal with this government in terms of the policies, and you're just going to be talking about foreigners, Zimbabweans, this and all those things. That is the difference between now and then.
Okay. Senator, I find this, whenever I talk to Zimbabweans, they don't want to leave South Africa. That's the point that I'm trying to make here. It's not that I don't understand the point that you're making. There is no Zimbabwean who is here. Even if you're going to come and shoot 10 Zimbabweans line by line, they will not voluntarily leave this country. Most Zimbabweans who are here, they've settled. You know what happened with the All Truck Drivers Foundation? They've been chasing Zimbabweans, and last year they killed another young family man in Durban. He was also killed under similar circumstances. There have been a lot of torture of Zimbabwean truck drivers, and still the truck driving industry is employing Zimbabweans. Similarly, all these informal settlements, there have been attacks on Zimbabweans. The point I'm trying to make is that Zimbabweans who are in South Africa and the government of Zimbabwe, they don't want to address the issue. They are blaming the South African government. But I don't think that is the solution. Is there no part that we as Zimbabweans and our government should play in addressing this issue? Because the community is clear that they don't want Zimbabweans. I know that is their human rights and all these things. But is there nothing that our politicians, for example, the CCC, they've got all their supporters here. ZANU-PF has got all their supporters here. The government, the embassies, is there nothing that we can do to say, let's address the concerns of the citizens, of the community that no longer wants Zimbabweans here?
You see, I'm saying this with the uttermost respect, Kambakwe. So don't take it in a negative manner that it may sound or it may come out. We are being simplistic on complex issues, and I'm trying to persuade you to understand how the whole global architecture works, and you just confining yourself into a thought process which you seem to be persuaded by. I'm saying to you, this is not a Zimbabwe, South Africa phenomena. That's what I'm saying to you. I'm taking you to as far as Europe. Let's take a visit there, and I show you people how they get to Europe. There are people who die, Kambakwe, trying to hold on to the planes, maybe by the luggage or whatever, or by the wheels or whatever, trying to cross and get to Europe, because there are push factors from wherever they are coming from. You can't say to a Zimbabwean, because you are fortunate enough that you have met it, and tell them that they must leave South Africa because they are going to be killed and come to Zimbabwe to die because of what they are facing in Zimbabwe. There are people here who live on less than $1 per day. I can tell you this, I don't earn much, by the way, in my parliamentary salary. It doesn't go over 80,000 Zimbabwean dollars. But I can tell you, on a monthly basis, between 20 and 40,000 Zimbabwean dollars goes towards assisting the indigent families in one way or the other. because of the dire conditions that they find themselves in. There's untold extreme poverty in this country. And so people take the risk of saying, you know what, I may die, I may not die, but at least my family is somewhat living. So those are issues that cannot be addressed overnight. Those are issues that can be addressed over a long period. That's why you see I am resisting the whole issue of telling people register to vote in numbers and whatsoever. No, we are not there. This is not what today is about. Today is about appealing to our neighbors to say, be human beings, please. Even an animal, you don't kill it like that. You don't kill an animal like that. So that's what the whole issue is all about. To then start blaming people who are there for reasons that everybody knows about them. I'm saying to you, in this country, there are South Africans in this country that are somehow making a living in this country. So what must happen to them? They must also be killed like wild animals to avenge the death of Elvis, since they are saying they are avenging this imaginary death of 7 people.
Okay, I certainly want to leave South Africa. Myself personally, I'm making all the efforts that I can to leave this country. I do not want to overstay my my welcome here. And Senator, I can assure you, if I have a way, you will see me in Zimbabwe, as poor as I am, living in my own country. The problem that I have is, this is something that I feel when there's an attack like this, when I'm sent videos to watch of someone being attacked. But then after a while, I just sit back and say, maybe let me wait a bit, things have normalized. I can say my point that I'm trying to make, which is very difficult to address, is we as Zimbabweans, are we responsible for how we are going to proceed going forward? Or we are going to continue putting this at the hands of the South Africans? I know you've answered me, and it's very clear. Everyone knows what you're saying, Senator. It's very clear and it's correct that no one should be killed. But then how do we deal with this issue of the locals not wanting Zimbabweans? In the area where I stay, it's a very low density, medium density area. There are multiple empty apartments here, where Zimbabweans or other foreigners who used to live here have left. In fact, the accommodation is so much available since last year because many foreigners have left. That's why you see that the issue is in the informal settlements. Many Zimbabweans who are in informal settlements, there are in fact more Zimbabweans going into the informal settlements. That is the issue. And that,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Kambako, look, by the way, just to put your heart at ease, there are many people I can refer you to. When I was living in that country, my house was a sanctuary. Every time there were these xenophobic flares, I was more or less in the same situation like you, where I was in a low, whether you call it medium, but I was in a low density suburb. So every time there were all those flares, all the people, most of the people in our structures will come in and live at my house, come to live. No, not to hide, come to live at my house. I remember at some stage we had about 11 people so at our house because of the xenophobic attacks which happened in Pretoria, Soshanguve, that whole area. So I understand where you're coming from. And the answers you want me to come with today in addressing why Zimbabweans and South Africa whatsoever, it's not the day today. We'll deal with that. The time will come, we'll deal with that. Today, I just want to respect our late brother, Elvis Nyati, who died in a very painful way. And I'll appeal to you to do exactly what you did for Stole. We must assist this family. I heard he had 4 kids. So we must adopt each maybe one and make sure that they finish their education. They have a roof over their head. They have this and that. So that's something we can even coordinate offline, me and you. But today, I don't want to deal with what do we do to do what. Today, the message is simple. we are asking our government to talk to the government of South Africa to stop killing our people. Just that. I don't think it's too much to ask. Our people must not die simple because they have gone to a sister country. They are the ones who told us that they are sister parties. These are sister parties. These are sister governments. Everything they do together. So why are our people killed when our leaders are buddies? Our leaders are buddies. Our countries are buddies, as far as we know. So why are our people killed? So they must now leverage on that relationship, those ties, those freedom ties, those liberation ties, to make sure that our people are protected in that country. I am not going to get into something. I had to talk about CCC. I don't want to talk about them. I don't want to talk about political differences and whatsoever. Right now, we're talking about Zimbabweans' lives, which are at stake. And we want all Zimbabweans to be safe, not only here in South Africa, but all around the world. But more so when they are here in South Africa, at our brother's place. Why should they die? When my child, when Fana sees you, he is at ease. He's seeing Ubaba Omdala, although you're just older than me with just 7 days. But he's seeing Ubaba Omdala. He's very, very happy. I don't expect Fana to die. Simba starts killing Fana simple because you are broke for a day or two, and start saying the problems at your house are caused by Fana. No, that can't be. I'll pick up the phone and ask you, Kambako, what is happening? Why is my son under threat at your house? Can this come to an end? We will deal with the issues of should Zimbabweans come home, and then we'll deal with that sometime. But today, this killing of Zimbabweans must come to an end. And this whole thing of embarrassing our people, taking away their universal rights in the streets with TV cameras, show us your passport, let's see your days. And it's worse, it's done by SAPS, it's done by Metro, it's not even done by immigration people. Those people don't even know what they're looking for.
Senator,
right now,
I think this is...
Right now, there was COVID. Because of COVID, people were told to stay there until whatsoever. Now, no, your stamp has expired. No, it has not expired. We've got an exception because of this and that. So I'm simply saying that whole operation which is happening there, it's evil, it's inhuman, it's un-African. It must be condemned in the strongest term possible.
Okay. I feel I can condemn this, what's happening in Diepsloot, but I feel that there's more. That's the point I'm trying to make here. I've been to, I was last in Diepsloot in, I think 2 years ago or 3 years ago. I don't go there anymore. The crime there is extremely high. That is the truth. The last time I was there, a child went missing, was found murdered. And this area is extremely, is full of crime. The poverty in Diepsloot, especially in that informal area, is too much. And I don't know how people from our country live in that area. That is the attitude that I have. And you mentioned that we need to assist the family of Elvis. Obviously, we are going to make an effort. But for me to go to Diepsloot right now, which is only 12 kilometers from where I am, it's very difficult for me to even imagine going there. And I think that's why many of the people that you see, Zimbabweans, don't go there. And probably the people who have visited the family right now, from what I saw, there are mostly a few political parties like ZAPU, the embassy, people who have got protection. It's a very dangerous area to go into. It's any political time.
ZAPU are not protected, but anyway, that's beside the point. I understand your security fears. We will be able to get hold of the family. Don't worry, that we can arrange. I appreciate Kambako. I have to go. I'm in the rural areas. We're fortunate that the network did hold in the manner which it did, and it's extremely cold. I'm not getting younger. I now need to go into the blankets lest I catch pneumonia. I think we have exhausted this topic. You can even bring me during the week. We can deal with the political issues. I'll be very, very happy. Not today. Today, it's about Elvis Nyati. What happened to him? It's inhuman. And I hope there are other avenues that Harare can use to really speak to the conscience of Pretoria, because this we really did not expect. We didn't expect this. It shouldn't be happening. And why is it different? I stress this again. It's because it's a political program that has brought about this. And they seem to be doubling down. There's no remorse. You can see the posture and everything. You know, this whole thing that Zimbabweans are a problem. They are not a problem. I repeat, Kambakwe. We can wake up tomorrow, remove Zimbabweans, all of them there from Diepsloot. Diepsloot will carry on having the same problems. Rape, matters, this, that, and that, no jobs. And I gave you an example here. I told you that the prison population, foreigners are only 10%, not Zimbabweans. Foreigners are only 10%. I don't know what's the percentage of that 10% are Zimbabweans there. So it's nonsense that Zimbabweans are responsible for crime in South Africa, and it's a dangerous political program which the leadership of that country is not only failing Zimbabweans, they are failing their own people and they are failing themselves, and they ought to collectively hang their heads in shame. We did not expect that from them. We respected them and we looked up to them, and today we're embarrassed.
Right. Thank you very much, Senator. I certainly will bring you during the week. And I hope that I could get someone from ZANU-PF to come here and talk about the portion that you raise of our government engaging ANC at a political party level. Because the ANC has pushed back today. They actually summoned ZANU-PF to say your statement was insensitive. So I don't know how far ZANU-PF can go after what has happened today.
Let me tell you something, and you'll hardly hear me say this. I did not see the statement, but the mere fact that they are saying the statement was insensitive, I'll say kudos to ZANU-PF. That is what we talk about when we are saying standing up for your people. There is no sensitiveness that can be accepted, that can be expected from ZANU-PF when our people are slaughtered like wild animals like that. Who's supposed to be sensitive here? So, the ZANU-PF that I know, they must just tell them to go to the deepest lake, close their eyes, and jump. This country is not a province, by the way, of South Africa, and they must start respecting us. Kambakwe. Anyway, I said I want to go. Let me go. Kudos to them. They must just go and jump in a lake. We don't care. They are the ones who are supposed to be sensitive. It's not the other way around. They now, simple because we are faced with leaky problems, now they want to treat us like we are a basket case. We are not a basket case. We are not going to allow our people to be murdered in the manner they have done. There is nothing to be sensitive here. If anything, ZANU was a bit maybe considerate. It's the ANC that killed Elvis Nyati. That's the point that I'm making. That's the point that I'm making. It's the ANC that killed him. Thank you, Kambako.
Thank you, Senator. I'll see you again very soon, and good night to everybody.
Thank you, my friend.
Uyo uko kuno abo pano